Okay, we're back with part 2 of FSPDE Lecture 1, looking at Mintel consumer data. Mintel's consumer data is a really good source of information about product categories. When you search for a category, search for a product or a category, you'll find up at the top of the page there is go to report, and you should probably read the report first before drilling down the data. So I picked a report for freeform products, and it starts with a summary of the impact in the market. That's quite useful in itself. And then you look at the information in a number of ways. First an infographic. It's nicely presented and may give you some ideas for presenting this information. You won't be doing a presentation in this module, but you will be in food product development, so it might be useful there. A little bit more detail is the executive summary. More detailed review of the markets and influence and factors. So it's got Natasha's there on allergen labeling of snack foods. The executive summary includes graphs of current and data forecasts. This one is typical. The basis for these forecasts isn't immediately clear, and one criticism of Mintel is that they always predict markets will continue to grow. This is somewhat in contradiction to what we know about the product life cycle, and I'll be honest, I'm a little bit mystified as to why a 50% confidence interval should be narrower than 95% one. If someone can explain this to me, that would be helpful. Mintel's consumer data is the place to look for reports in specific markets. Here I've chosen the food category, and clicking on the plus sign over here will drill down further. Again, I've done a walkthrough of this in the various videos I've done on Mintel. As an example, this graph shows the type of foods and ingredients avoided in your households and why. The data from an internet survey, and if you click on the link, it'll give you more details about the source. This will be useful, for example, if you're pitching, say, a wheat-free product. Note the menu bar. You can see charts or graphs, or in some cases, not so many as far as I can tell, you get margins of error and significance data. That's more, you're going to see that more likely in the tables rather than the graphs, it has to be said. A drop-down menu at the top of the page allows you to access a range of questions, such as I've shown there. You decide what is most pertinent to your product. Again, you have limited time, find out what's important, do that well, then move on. The Explore Demographics button allows you to drill down into particular demographic groups you might think would be customers for your products. Again, we'll talk about demographic groups in a separate lecture, and will allow you further refinement of your business case. But again, as I've said before, just because something is popular in a particular age group, for example, doesn't mean other people from other age groups or genders don't like this product as well. So here we have lactose an issue, and we can see the largest group to report avoiding it is in the age group 25 to 34, and they do so for general health reasons rather than lactose intolerance. Again, you should avoid overanalyzing this data. Use what you need to make your case. You can break it down further. It's a really nice analysis there based where it's grouped the categories by age, and you do this in various other ways as well. So download the report in several formats, including Word and PDF. Yeah, and I've already sort of covered that, so I'll move on from that. Okay, another activity, explore Mintel. Make sure you know how to find the information your product was approved very soon, hopefully. Then start thinking about what information you will need. Okay, competitor retail audits. Now, as well as looking in Mintel for key data and possible justifications for your product, you can do a general search online, maybe look in supermarket websites to find out about prices and packaging formats. Now, claims, I'll put a question mark, refers to specific health and nutrition claims. I'll do a separate lecture on that later in the module. Packaging is important for a number of reasons. It may impact on shelf life and sustainability issues, and is a key way of engaging consumer interest. Sustainability is a growing interest. The very successful My Breakfast Box, run by a recent TU nutrition graduate, places strong emphasis on the sustainability of this packaging. And if you click on that link, it'll take you through to Jodie's website. Again, we'll talk about packaging in more detail later in the module. Just for fun, I used orange data mining to analyze the Quorn range. Access Quorn's product web pages, record the product names in a CSV file, and analyze this data using orange data mining text analysis tools. There's a couple of videos there on how to do this. one of the things it brings up is this, it's sort of like a focused word cloud. And it's striking that vegan is one of the most important words, with fillets and chicken not far behind. Quorn doesn't have that many vegan products yet, though they have been developed, again, by one of our former students in large part. The use of chicken's interesting. For example, in chicken slices, when they first started marketing products, they had titles like the Chicktastic Burger. They're, of course, vegetarian products, and it would be assumed that customers who are buying them understand they're chicken-free. There's some controversy about naming non-meat products in this way. Another example is plant-based milk rather. See the two links at the foot of the page for different perspectives. Okay, so that sort of covers everything we can do in Mintel, and we'll workshop these in various sessions throughout the module. But look at two tools I want you to use: perceptual and objective mapping. They're both graphical ways of presenting information about products. Perceptual mapping is a graphical way of understanding consumer attitudes to products or brands. It's a subjective measure. Later we will look at objective attribute mapping. It's a visual representation of consumer perceptions. A perceptual map is a visual representation of perceptions about products and brands. Participants are asked to place items on a two-dimensional grid describing two attributes such as cost versus calorific value, or can rank them using a table such as via a Likert scale. This will help, or at least can help us understand the perceptions of customers or potential customers to a particular product or brand, and can be used to identify gaps in markets which may be suitable for new products. So you will be doing this based on your product. The link at the foot of the page, all about perceptual maps for marketing, will take you to a good resource. You can use the Excel spreadsheet you can download from there, or a simplified one I've produced. And I've also produced my own video using the TM tool, which is this video over here. As usual, all of this will be available on Blackboard, and we'll workshop it in the usual ways we do. This is the overall process. You'll need a cohort of potential customers. These could be other members of the group. You'll ask them to rank a set of related products. More on this in the next slide. And when you've done this, you can analyze the results using the Excel perceptual mapping resource. So here's one way to do it. Now remember, this is not a taste test. You're asking your panel to rank products based on their opinions about taste and calories, in this case. It's possible some people will get things very wrong. That's just fine. What we're interested in is what people think about it, not what the actual objective information says. Obviously, you could do this using SurveyMonkey or Microsoft Forms, which are a much better option than using paper. So here's another alternative. You ask people to rank the products numerically, or you can use a Likert type scale here. Then you will need to transfer these numbers into that row there. Should be deleted, actually. You can ignore the row at the top. Then you need to transfer these numbers into a scale which you can use in the tool. I guess it'd be interesting to compare the two approaches. Maybe a bit outside the scope of this module, but we'll see how we get on. There's some examples from last year. We'll discuss potentially exploitable gaps more in the taught sessions. These are quite reasonable results. Reading from the top, we have 7 products free. 7 products for chicken nuggets, which is perhaps a little low for what is a crowded market. The map for inulin as a prebiotic ingredient was 7 products, which isn't bad for what is actually a niche market. Down here, the map for unprocessed meat market has far too few examples of what is such a large market. The best one is this one, the analysis of spoonable yogurts, which is a good range of products and a clear gap indicated for low sugar, low fat, with evidence of at least one product that meets this criteria. So it's possible to make a low sugar, low fat yogurt. There are quite a few in the market actually now. There are a range of different perceptual maps. If you look at the resource I referenced earlier on, there's lots of information in there. We'll be using the 2 determinant variety, and there's no need to worry about the others too much. Although we'll probably discuss their extension into other methods of statistical modelling later in the module. So this discussion of other maps will be brief. If you decide a more advanced map might be useful, address it briefly in critical analysis only. The next logical iteration from a standard perceptual map is a joint perceptual map where, for example, demographic information can be added to the map. So in this case, we've got age groups and gender. It's also, again, it's worth reminding ourselves that although, for example, Pepsi Max's biggest consumer group is females aged 15 to 30, they are not the only group purchasing this product. This is a much more complex perceptual map requiring quite sophisticated statistical analysis. We'll be looking at this general approach much more when we do the rapid sensorial analysis lab, so don't worry about it now. One of my ambitions is to link standard PMs to this approach. Again, you might think it's helpful in understanding your product's markets, but again, just addressed briefly in critical analysis. The link there, how correspondence analysis works, is quite a detailed discussion of this if you are that interested, but I wouldn't worry about it, as I've said, for the ICA itself. Okay, so I've added objective mapping this year. In this case, this is what it says, it's objective mapping of data we know. It'll be interesting to compare the results. As implied in the name, this approach uses objective measures such as known calorific values and product cost. See this video for a walkthrough of the process. There was also a video for the walkthrough of the perceptual mapping one somewhere. And again, you can download my spreadsheet from Blackboard. Process is similar, except we use objective data here, and then we rank them ourselves and analyse in the Excel resource. And this is the sort of information we're looking at. So we looked at the nutritional information for a range of yogurts, we've got the protein contents, we've got the energy calories, energy in kilocalories, and that's what we'll use in our map. Right, okay, final activity. Access the material both on perceptual and objective mapping. Understand the process so we can do these analysis when your product is approved. Right, that's all for lecture 1. Thanks for listening.